Alright mates, how's it going? In today's video, Chapter 16 of Rise of the Horde by Gul'dan. Time for the Horde to get a little bit larger. Let's go! That was an excellent test. Gul'dan looked very happy indeed, and Gul'dan basked in his master's approval, whilst Nazul just kind of stood there, eyes down to the floor. But he was listening.
I confess, I was surprised by Gul'dan. I expected him to resist, but the city lies claimed and broken. All the Draenei who once lived there are gone, most of them dead.
Most is not good enough, Gul'dan. Gul'dan flinched slightly at the criticism. I think we can all relate to knowing that one person who is never bloody satisfied. And once again, Gul'dan wondered about the connection between Gul'dan and the Draenei, and why his master despised them so much.
It was our first attempt at taking the battle to them, rather than attacking lone hunting parties. Great one. All things considered, I think we did okay.
True enough, and there is yet time. During the several days since the attack on Telmor, Gul'dan had offered the fallen city to Gul'dan. He was mighty impressed with the job the Frostwolf had done, pleased with his leadership qualities. But Gul'dan had declined the offer, stating that the Frostwolves would continue to live in their ancestral lands. So the Black Rocks took it instead. And it wasn't long before they were sitting in chairs, eating at tables, using cutlery and sleeping in lavish beds and stuff. They trained with Draenei weaponry, adopted Draenei armour. They even started wearing leftover Draenei clothing as casual wear and pyjamas. Gul'dan knew that there were many who wondered why neither he nor Nazul had taken the city for themselves. Gul'dan had been tempted to do so, but Gul'dan had advised him not to. The less Gul'dan claimed for himself publicly, the greater his reach and influence would be. By all appearances, Gul'dan was advancing the Orcs as a race, giving them power and eliminating their enemy. But it wasn't about the Orcs as a race. It had never been about the Orcs as a race. It was about power, getting it, wielding it, and keeping it. Nazul didn't get it. Blackhand didn't get it either. None of them grasped the vastness of Gul'dan's ambitions. Gul'dan then glanced over to Nazul with contempt, sat huddled in the corner. What a loser. And Gul'dan then turned back to Gul'dan, who nodded. You have names in mind for your Shadow Council, yes? Summon them. They will come when you call, and they will dance to your tune. I will see to that. Over the following year, the big brain orcs got to work on understanding Draenei technology. Building began on a central fortress, which Gul'dan called the Citadel. It was a place where a standing army could be conveniently quartered, trained and equipped, etc. Every orc had been given a role. You had warriors, you had warlocks, you had healers, and you had crafters. All equally important in their own way, although some did consider the crafters a lower class of orc. But even though every member of every clan was working as hard as they could, and Gul'dan had spies in each clan to make sure of it, all of these advancements were still not enough. The taking of Telmor had been largely down to luck. The Draenei had felt completely and utterly protected by the magic of the green crystal, but they weren't going to make that same mistake twice. No, Gul'dan knew that the Horde were going to need allies.
Ogres. Yes.
No.
Come now, Blackhand. Calm yourself and listen to what I am saying. You will be the one to benefit most from this, after all.
That got him. Blackhand grunted, but seemed to visibly calm down.
They are filth, Gul'dan. They've been our enemies longer than the Draenei, and with better reason. How is it that I will benefit? There are some that still mutter that you were not elected fairly. If you succeed in this, it will add more glory to your name. Perhaps. But will the Orcs even agree to this? They will if we tell them to.
Sometime later, Orgrim shifted uneasily and stared at his leader. Not only had he been involved in countless hunting parties to eliminate the ogre threat, but he also had a kind of personal reason to hate them. He'd never quite got over the fact that he'd run away from one all those years ago. But Orgrim knew his leader was a good strategist. The plan was sound, if you could detach yourself emotionally from it. The Black Rocks had captured 3 ogres and eventually, after several days of explaining everything slowly and repeatedly, made friends with them. And now, here they were, standing just outside a huge ogre settlement. And by they, I mean Blackhand, his sons Rend and Main, the 3 ogres, Orgrim, and a small army of nameless Blackrock orcs. Orgrim again looked at his leader. Was he going to make a speech? Orgrim hoped not. Blackhand was good at fighting, not words. And to his relief, Blackhand did not make a speech. He just looked at his sea of warriors, nodded, and then the attack got started. Initially, the ogres were kind of confused by the sight of 3 of their own charging towards them with an army of orcs, but the complete morons eventually began to comprehend that they were under attack, and then they rallied.
Meow, 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 meow.
Hold! Hold! And so, the Blackrock warriors stayed their hands, and then retreated a little bit so that the dumbass ogres could catch up with what was going on. Orgrim then watched as the 3 ogres the Blackrocks had befriended started talking to their own kind, and couldn't help but wonder why this plan had involved them all rushing in, rather than just sending the 3 ogres in the first place.
Can't wait till we can kill them again. If we succeed, they'll be fighting alongside us. You won't be allowed to kill them.
Right, kill them on the sly.
Several are dead already trying to make this plan of your father's work. He wouldn't like you undermining his efforts.
Who's going to tell him?
I will. If this works and they listen to us, if any of them turn up dead, yours is the first name I'll mention.
Rend glared at Orgrim. 'Twas probably just childish petulance, but Orgrim couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. He didn't like Blackhand's sons. There was a darkness in them. If the day ever came that they started using their brains as well as their muscles, Rend and Maim would be even more dangerous and deadly than their father. Told you he wouldn't listen, Rend. Old man's forgotten what it's like to have balls. Let's go. And off they went, although Rend did throw one final sneer at Orgrim. But Blackhand then appeared and indicated that he and Orgrim should approach the ogres to find out how the negotiations were going.
We know like Gron. They hurt us.
Orgrim felt no sense of pity for the creatures. Serve them right.
What you give us if we join you?
Well, for one thing, we won't kill you. You'll have food, shelter, and the delight of smashing Draenei into small wet stains on the grass. An ogre then started literally jumping up and down excitedly.
Smash Draenei's back doors in.
And Blackhand just kind of patiently waited for the ogre to finish whatever it was bloody doing. So, are we in agreement?
No more hurting of ogres.
What is your name?
Kroll.
Kroll then. When do you think we should lead our combined assault?
Now.
Before Orgrim or Blackhand could say anything, the ogre captain bellowed a whole bunch of noise, and the entire ogre encampment started collectively jumping up and down. Blackhand looked at Orgrim as if to say, what the hell are they doing? And Orgrim just kind of shrugged. He then pulled out a cleft-tooth horn and blew on it, and heard Blackhand's army cheer in the distance. Things were now moving so quickly that Orgrim could only hope the Blackrock warriors remembered the rest of the plan. Soon, they would be slaughtering ogres aplenty, but they had damned well better be killing the right ogres, because if they didn't, if they gave these ogres any reason to question this sudden and weird alliance, things were probably not going to end well for the Blackrock clan. And Orgrim did not feel all that optimistic, to be honest. The Blackrock clan had always been fierce in the hunt, but recently there was a sort of manic fury that had begun to creep through the clan. Not to mention the weird green tinge that had started to appear on some of the orcs' skin. But that was probably nothing to worry about. And we're leaving it there! Maybe it's just my reading comprehension, but I don't think Blackhand's plan made that much sense in this chapter. Not gonna lie. Supposed to be this master strategist, and yet I swear they could have just sent the 3 ogres in, rather than all rushing into battle for no reason whatsoever. Link in the description if you're interested in buying the book, as well as for my Discord and Patreon page and all that shiz. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, all of that bollocks. And all that's left to say is, thanks for watching, and see ya!